Hello and welcome back in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here in the Red Lane Zoo. Now, so for the last couple of weeks we've been working on a kind of family farm, I think is the way it was originally described, but it's kind of a petting zoo, same sort of thing. And now they've given us Barnyard animal pack. So yeah, you might notice the ground we're working on. I've basically deleted everything that we've been working on, and we're going to do it again. And this time we're going to do the animals that actually should be in here. So some of you know if you've been following this. If you haven't been, what on earth have you been doing? Go and check out the full playlist. I will put a tag up in the right corner for you right now. Basically we've been picking animals that kind of fitted with the whole sort of petting animal sort of theme. So we had like a horse, we had the llamas, but they weren't the right animals, should we say. They weren't the right breeds, they weren't the right species in some regards. So I tried to make it as best as I possibly could, but now we actually have proper animals that fit. So that's what we are doing in here, and we're basically completely reimagining this whole area. So let's go again. We are here working on the stone wall that is basically going to be the back of this. So I'm going to show you little snippets because otherwise we will be here forever, and that's not fun for anybody. So yes, this is the stone wall. This is going to go basically all the way around the back of all of these habitats, and then we're going to work on the front fence in here. Now using the new pedestrian sort of guest gate that goes into here, which I love. I've got fair, this pack came with some really cool stuff that was kind of it's somewhat similar to what we did before, so I've kind of kept the pathing as close as I could. It's not the same and it may well change because I know what's coming up, but we will sort of have to see about those later on into there as to what we kind of do with the pathing and how that all looks. But this is going to be the front fence in here. So this is actually a really nice simple kind of fence. I actually took some inspiration from a real life family farm, and yeah, they had this sort of two sides kind of fence. It's like it pops down and then it sort of comes back up again in here, which I thought was a super cute idea, especially because it allows like children to look through that little hole at like different ages, different sizes. They can see different things, and then obviously the sort of grown-ups can look over the top. That's not a problem in here. Now, one thing I do have to say with this new pack, I've done this as a walkthrough, so you can see this is where the gate where the people or the guests walk through the actual sort of habitat. Nobody's using external paths anymore. Whether that changes the more animals we get in, I don't know. But what I have done, and what you're going to see in a little while, is I've actually changed this fence here. At the other end of it is going to have a another gate. So basically people can walk from one habitat to the other inside. So all of these animals that are going to go in here all work with the sort of guests walking through them. So they don't really need to go on the outside. But I'm hoping that changes. I've got to be fair. Now, putting in these little hand sanitizer pots here, I have to be honest, I changed them. You'll see that later on in the screenshots when I was sort of playtesting and getting the screenshots and doing things like that. I was finding that the people weren't actually using them, so I've placed them on the inside, but again, people aren't really using them. I don't know really why. It seems a bit of an odd one to me why they're not using them, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually like sanitize their hands, either with them on the outside of the habitat or on the inside. And the only reason I put them on the inside was because nobody was using on the outside. So I don't know whether that's a little bit buggy. I have noticed a few little glitches and a few little issues here and there, which are a little bit weird. So people seem to clip through things a little bit more, whether that be animals, each other, plants, rocks. They just sort of just walk through anything, which is a little bit of a weird one. And also they seem to sink when they're actually now inside the habitat and off the paths. I had to do a little bit of creative work when I came to taking the screenshots, and you'll sort of see that later on, that there's a lack of feet because they sink into the ground or they levitate. Just little things like that, you know. But it made it just a little bit more interesting and time consuming to take some screenshots. And also things that never used to clip out now do. And yeah, just little things like that. But hopefully in the coming days and weeks that will all be fixed in an update and stuff like that. Hopefully soon into there. But I have basically built the outside of this hard shelter. I don't particularly like it. And I feel like I may change the outer walls of this to something a little bit more in keeping. Now I want it to fit in with the zoo as what we've got already, and it does that. However, the cream kind of colour, the wood, it just doesn't really fit with me. So I may well change it so that it's more in keeping with the other habitats that we have from the raccoons and armadillos that we had up the other end of the zoo. I feel like they're probably a little bit more in keeping with what I really wanted for this sort of area in here. I do kind of want to keep it in a creamy sort of lighter sort of wood colours, but maybe a little bit more textured and a little bit more realistic than this, I think. I don't know, we'll have to sort of see, but we may come back next time and it will be completely different. You'll have to wait and see for that one. But working on the interior of this sort of staff area of this hard shelter, so just a few little feeding pots and some little tools and stuff like that in here for them as well, just to kind of make it a little bit more realistic, kind of backstage little work area. Nothing kind of too major, I don't think, in the back here. It's just a nice simple little area, and we have a path that connects through from the main path to the habitat gate in here as well. So your staff will actually use this, whether that be like the security that walk through, or keepers, vets and stuff like that. So it is a used area, just not for sort of the public, kind of your guests as it were. Into here I kind of use some food that I think maybe possibly the animals would use and eat, carrots and stuff like that. I don't know honestly what they would eat really. In here I've got a couple of bits of hay boughs, and I've got that little pile of straw as well, which I thought maybe could be bedding or something like that in here as well. And I've also placed down a mug from the souvenir shop because I thought maybe a member of staff was having a cup of tea and just wanted to check on them. Maybe they've got young or something, and thought I would spend my break in here looking at them, watching them. I don't know. I never know what people want to do in here, that kind of thing. So yeah, lighting going in, having just a nice simple little area in here. There's nothing too major about it, and I think one thing I did do and I kind of regretted straight away when I was putting this in is I got rid of all the staff buildings down here, so I am going to have to put those in. I will probably do that off camera, and I don't really know where to put them either, so we'll have to sort of figure that one out at a later date as well. But yeah, so when you come back to see this later on, next video, it may have completely sort of changed its outside appearance, but I will keep it as sort of internally as it is. So like this little fence wall here, that will probably stay, and then you'll just have a different outer layer to it into there as well. But we are very, very quickly speeding through this habitat, and we've not really talked about the new animals. So this is actually for the Hill Radnor Sheep, which are gorgeous, I've got to be fair. And I have wanted a kind of farm pack, but like animals, petting zoo kind of animals for a while now. They were on my wish list. I actually kind of gave up thinking we were gonna get them because I thought there's no way, with the game semi coming to an end, I didn't think that we would have these animals. Now, I'm okay with some of the animal selections. A few of them are a little bit like, maybe, possibly, what's wrong with this? Like, I would have chopped a few out, but you know, overall they are really great animals, and they're going to be a really nice sort of add-on collection to this sort of area of my zoo. And the whole point of me actually starting with the other animals was because I thought we weren't going to get these. So that's why I kind of put in the other animals, because I'd given up hope, essentially, of having these, which is a bit of a shame. And obviously I have now changed my ways and have deleted everything we spent weeks, if not months, working on. And we're going to do it all again into here. But I think it'll be worth it if it all comes off really, really nicely. And I've got to fair, some of the interactions that the guests have with the sheep that we've got in here are super cute, and yeah, it's just a really nice sort of add-on to the zoo, which I wanted it to be an add-on. This whole point of sort of this collection was that it has its own entrance, and it's maybe like you get a different colour wristband or something when you get your tickets, so that you can go into like all of it, or you can just visit sort of the farm here. And this is going to have its own dedicated entrance once we've sort of all finished, so that you can just visit this section if you wanted and you didn't want to go to the whole sort of zoo, as it were, into there. But they are some sneaky little future plans into here. Now this is a roofing. I was not sure what to do with this roofing. I thought about a pitched roof, and then I honestly thought, you know what, the rest of the buildings in here are flat roofed and kind of very modern looking, so that's kind of what I decided to do in the end. We have these plaster pieces we use for the lights mainly, but I thought they would be a nice sort of trim to go around the outside of here, and then we can have a slightly lower roof on the inside of this, a slightly different colour as well, just to give it a nice little pop. But as I say, it may change depending, and I do actually change this tree in here because I did notice it clips through the building, which is not really what I wanted into here. So this is putting the actual sort of proper roof on the top, change it to a slightly darker kind of black, kind of dark brown kind of colour, which I think works in here quite nicely because it does give it that slight little pop that we sort of really needed in here as well. So yeah, that is the roof all done in here, and then we lower all of this down just to give it a little bit of a trim at the bottom, and a little bit more of a step, maybe if like you're a child or something and you couldn't see through the window, then I thought a nice little step into there would be a nice little hint, because you can have a little bit of a step up to sort of see in. Now these animals are from the mountains, they're from the hills, the highlands, and I figured they needed a really sort of hilly kind of habitat. Now, because I had not thought of this when I was doing the rock work around all the fencing, I decided it had to be a kind of a hill in the middle of their habitat, as it were. So that's what I did in here, and then I've kind of softened it all out a little bit, and we kind of go a little bit crazy with the rocks. And some of the planting that we get in, they don't particularly like, there's too much of it, but I think it really works, and it kind of adds a really nice sort of woodland, kind of rocky, kind of hilly sort of terrain, which I super love for them in here, and is really what I want for the rest of this sort of section in here, because we have gone for a very lush kind of green zoo with lots of planting and things like that. So I really wanted to kind of follow that through, and like what we did with the last habitats as well, make them really nice, overgrown, and and things like that coming into here. So we kind of use a mixture of rocks in here. Originally we go for the temperate rocks, which I think are just perfect as obviously for the right biome and stuff like that in here, and we kind of create a really nice sort of steep hilly kind of area. Now the sheep are perfect for this because they can kind of walk on pretty much all of this. There's a few areas where some of the sharp bits that they can't do, or there's planting in the way, but for the most part they're actually super adaptive to sort of walking and climbing on all of this in here. And so are the people. Annoyingly, I kind of did this so that the people would only walk around the outside, and I know that's kind of counterintuitive to kind of think that guests wouldn't walk through here, but I thought I'll leave tracks where I want them to walk, but then I'll kind of cover up areas where I want the animals to go but not people. No, the people go pretty much everywhere in here. I think the only place that the people don't go is into the hard shelter, but they will stand right outside the front, like the door to it in here. So yeah, and they don't mind if they clip things, and as I say, they levitate, they sink. Yeah. So it wasn't really what I wanted. Now I thought because they can now walk anywhere that I didn't need to put a path through here. So you'll notice that at the 2 points there are little paths. I haven't connected them up at this point, and it was a bit weird when I was coming to take the screenshots and the cinematics of why people weren't walking through this habitat and weren't going in, until I realised that actually I did need to connect the two ends of this path. Now at the moment it is just a kind of one-way path. I haven't linked the other side up to the path because it's going to go straight into another habitat. So I kind of wanted to leave it for now until we know how it's going to go into the other one, what it's going to go into, whether it has maybe a dedicated path through a building or something like that. I don't know. But we'll have to see about that next time and for the next animal. But yes, lots and lots of little mini rocks going in here, just because I felt like it really needed that rocky kind of tone to go in here. And I do use quite a few different colours and textures of rock in here. Lots of the fake rocks in here, which I love, having these sort of semi-buried into the ground. It just adds kind of a nice hilly look, and we get in loads of planting. Now obviously the planting, this zoo is based in America, in North America, and we really have most of our animals from either North or South Americas. We do have a few obviously exceptions to that, and this whole area I feel like is going to be a massive big exception, because I don't think, other than the donkey, most of them are British. I think we have like an alpine goat as well, which obviously isn't, but they're mainly based in sort of Europe, which is super cool. And I feel like because this area is so different and separated, that I think it could work. But I really wanted plants that would grow and survive in sort of the North American sort of climate and stuff like that. So that's why we're getting lots of sort of planting in and things like that that kind of work for them. Now I know a lot of you are probably screaming saying they're going to eat the grass. Well, firstly, this is a video. Secondly, if you actually notice how I put the grass down, it is green where the animals really can't get to. Then it goes to a slightly lighter, the dry version, and then sort of on the edges where it's maybe been nibbled a little bit but not completely eaten, and then on the outside it is like the scorched kind of like dead sort of ones, which kind of indicates that the animals have eaten it and it's kind of like semi-dying because it's been overeaten. So I am aware of it, and I feel like it needs lots of grass, it needs lots of planting going in here. But I am aware that some of this planting needs to look different, and it needs to look like it has been munched on and eaten and things like that. So yes, I'm aware. Yes, I'm doing things about it, but no, I don't really care. So the same sort of thing here, where I'm placing a sort of normal one in, and then I'm placing like the dried versions in around it, so that like it's been nibbled a little bit, it's been eaten, it's semi-dead, but at the end of the day it is still a living plant, and they've not completely destroyed it, as it were, because otherwise I feel like they're just going to be empty, barren kind of habitats with like just rocks and maybe a couple of like branches and stuff in, which is not really what I wanted for this whole sort of area. These new buddleias, they are gorgeous. I would like to be able to change the colour variant on the flowers, I've got to be fair. I have one and it's white, but the only colour variant we have in game is a purple one. So yeah, maybe possibly an update for that one if possible, because I would like to change the colours, because I feel like they come in like 3 or 4 different colours, like the purple, white, and I think there's a yellow version. I don't know, let me know in the chat, if in the comments, if there is more that I'm just not aware of. But yeah, we are very, very quickly coming to the end of this into here. With a few more little sort of shrubs and stuff in here, so you can sort of see where I want the kind of animals and the guests to go. I do connect the path up coming along the back, so I do place the full path down, and it actually has to go straight through the scarecrow, because there was no other way to avoid it. So the path does go along the back, and now they walk throughout wherever they like. So it's little tearing issues, but nothing sort of too major in here. And we get into little tick seeds and some more trees in here. Now I wanted it to be very sort of shady, very sort of woodland kind of aspect. Now it fits in with that whole sort of like woods, kind of heavy forest trees that we have around the background. But I will leave you here with the screenshots. If you have enjoyed this, then please give a big thumbs up and comment down below. You can also subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all again very, very soon for another one. But until then, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!